Our first coach that we would like to welcome to the podium is Kim Barnes Arico. She's starting her 10th season at the University of Michigan, and she's the most successful coach, women's coach in Michigan history. She has basically 193 wins, 820 games, winning seasons, and she's starting her 10th year. She's a spectacular person. I love her coaching style. I was able to see her coach a couple times in person last year. They're going to have a great team this year. So with that, I'd like to welcome Kim Barnes Arico to the stage.
Good morning, everyone. I actually called my son at college this morning, and I told him that I had to follow Kevin Warren, and I was the first coach that would be speaking. And he told me that, Mom, you remember you always used to tell me that they put the best hitter in the leadoff spot? So I was very nervous. He made me feel a little bit better. Great to be here this morning. Great to kick things off. And I just want to say a special thank you to Kevin Warren for having us here today. I think it's really important for our programs to be here today with the success that women's basketball has had recently in the Big Ten. I think it's a great opportunity for our student athletes to be in this environment and to get this media attention. So I really would like to thank Kevin for that. I would like to thank the Big Ten for that opportunity as well. I would also like to thank Kevin Warren for the opportunity that he has given me personally and Naz Hillman and our student athletes this past year with the initiatives that he started with the Equality Coalition. I think that's been really important for us, for our program specifically, but for our conference. So thanks, Kevin. Really appreciate that. To speak about our league, I think I'd really like to kick things off with that. We are stronger, and I know I've said this before, but we are stronger than we have ever been from top to bottom. Obviously, we had 4 teams go to the Sweet 16 last year, which is incredibly impressive because we weren't getting a lot of that buzz and a lot of that attention heading into the NCAA tournament. And when it was all said and done, I thought the Big Ten was absolutely incredible. So we are stronger than ever before. I think we have some fabulous young up-and-coming coaches, new coaches in our league that are just absolutely terrific. And then we have some veteran coaches. So it's a great mix of coaches, but really a great mix of players. Obviously, I have a favorite in Naz Hillman. She's an All-American. She's Big Ten Player of the Year. But, you know, Caitlin Clark, Ashley Owusu, Leah Brown, we can go down the list of the tremendous players that we have in our league as well. So I think it's really a time to be excited about Big Ten women's basketball. I'm excited about our program. Obviously, we have Naz returning. We lost 2 starters, but we have a great core returning, a great group of new assistant coaches, a lot of energy and a lot of enthusiasm on our campus for sure. We get to work every single day with Coach Howard and our men's program as well, where we work side by side, and there's just a lot of excitement on the campus at the University of Michigan. So at this time, I'll open it up to any questions that you guys have.
Hi, Kim. Andrew Kahn. I'm live. Good to see you. If you could talk about dealing with expectations now. I'm sure you've had them for yourself and the program since you arrived, but actually going to the Sweet 16 for the first time. What is that? How does that change things inside the program?
Yeah, it's definitely a little bit different, a little bit different of a role that our team is in. But I think we attack each day kind of with the same mentality, is try to be the best that we can be today, and not really look at the finished product. And we were able to do that last year in a really tough and difficult year. So I think it's just trying to worry about improvement, trying to worry about getting better, and not worry about the wins and losses. So it's about the process and not the end result. We got to concentrate on that. We can't, read social media and really get caught up in all that stuff, and just try to be the best Michigan team that we can be each day.
Another one, you hit on it at the end of your opening statement, but if you could speak a little more to, I guess, the synergy with the men's program and Juwan, and kind of how you two do work together.
Yeah, I'm sure you guys know in the room, but Juwan Howard is a pretty special man. And when he first got to Michigan, I had been there for a number of years, and he'd be sitting and watching practice, and I would say, "Oh, thank you, Coach, for coming to practice." And he'd be like, "Are you kidding? We're family. This is what we do. This is what we do at Michigan." And then, we'd have a game, and he'd be in the front row. This is pre-COVID, of the arena, and one of our players would make a play, or Nas would have an and one, and he'd get up and he'd be swinging his hand. And after, I'd say, "Thanks, Coach, for coming to the game and bringing your family to the game." And he said, "No, this is what we do at Michigan. We're a Michigan family." And he does that with our program, but he does that with every team in the university. So our men and our women are together every day. We share the same facilities. We spend a lot of time with each other, and I think we have a mutual respect for each other, and it's a great relationship to have. It's really a difference maker for sure.
Hey, Coach James Boyd, Herald and Review. I know the NCAA recently used the March Madness, slogan with the women's tournament now, and how significant do you think that is for that in today, like you all have been saying, having the women's game just being put on a higher platform and more accessible to fans and things like that?
Yeah, I think it's outstanding. It's incredible. And I think last year there were so many tough things that happened through COVID and so many hard times through COVID, but there were some real positives that came out of it. And an opportunity for the women's game to be on the big stage last year, and for so many people to get to watch our game, and for so many of the inequities to be shown, I think really opened up a lot of people's eyes and has given us an opportunity to really push the needle and move forward and use our platform to move forward. So this is just another great example and a great opportunity for our women, for women's basketball players, but for women athletes and women in general.
Mike DeCourcy from Sporting News. There was discussion a week ago, and it was in the Gender Equity Report, about having Final Fours simultaneously in the same city. I wondered whether you thought that was a good idea, or whether it might be better for the women's game to grow to follow the model that the Softball World Series has used and done so well.
Yeah, that's a great question. It's actually one we were on the plane last night, and Nas Hillman and Leah Brown asked me how I felt about that, and we were kind of bouncing different things around. I don't know. I think it's really good conversation to have. I'm not sure if I have a real feeling which way that I would go at this point. But I think it's great that we're really having those conversations and really trying to figure out what is the best for the female student athlete. Is it best to put them in an environment where the men are having their Final Four, or is it best for them to have their own place? And where would we get more media attention? What would be the best situation for those student athletes? So I don't know. I'm still thinking about that. I don't have my own personal opinion really on it, but I think it's just great that we're having these type of conversations and that we're moving the needle forward.
We have time for one last question.
Thank you, guys. Have a wonderful day.
Fascinating to hear Coach Kim Barnes Arico talk about managing expectations. That's what happens when you come off the Sweet 16 for the first time in school history, and you return the Big Ten Player of the Year along with a top 30 prospect in the 2021 recruiting class. So we've heard from the women's side, Kim Barnes Arico from the University of Michigan. Now we head back to the stage and Big Ten Commissioner Kevin Warren.
We'd like to welcome to the stage the head basketball coach at the University of Michigan, Juwan Howard, who was our Big Ten Coach of the Year last year, the National Coach of the Year, had an unbelievable 16-year NBA career, a really, really special person, a special coach, and I'm glad that he's in the Big Ten. Coach Juwan Howard.
Good morning, everyone. That fight song never gets old to me. That's all I will say right there. Brings me great energy for this morning. It's good to see everyone. First of all, I want to say thank you, Commissioner Warren, Big Ten Conference, and all the folks that works behind the scenes on making this all work. Last season, it was a lot of fun. We also, thankfully so, were safe during the tournament situation. We enjoy it. Our guys really had fun throughout the process of the games that was displayed during one of the toughest conference, if not the toughest conference in college basketball. I personally am honored to be the head coach at a prestigious university, the University of Michigan men's basketball. So if any of you have any questions today, please feel free. I'm here to answer them, and we're going to have some fun with this. Yes, sir. Right.
Bring this brand of basketball to Michigan and to have them playing with the intensity that they do. I could see when you got the job, I could see the expression in your face and the emotion going through your heart. So
Right.
I know that has to kind of settle in a little bit before you actually start thinking completely about basketball. So what do you think about bringing, Eli and Hunter back with some of the new recruits merging together under your tutelage?
Well, first I would say this, yes. The emotion that I displayed when I was first hired, it showed how much I cared about this opportunity. And when someone puts their heart in it, obviously they're going to give you everything. And I think our players, the school, alumni, everyone that supports the program, seen that emotion being displayed and shared within our team. And last season, during the pandemic, during the COVID year, how our team responded and how they all was connected and played for one another. It was beautiful. It was inspiring to watch. I learned a lot from that group. I commend them for all the testing that they had to go through, to still buy into the vision, to stay locked in on the main thing being the main thing, but at the same time, with all that, having fun. And I did not want to make sure that they, and I'm speaking of they, the players, student athletes, the staff, to enjoy it because it was tough. Now, with Eli coming back, Hunter returning as well, and then we also have Brandon Johns, Adrian Nunez, and then a mixture of some newcomers as far as freshmen, as well as some sophomores like Terrence Williams Jr., Zeb Jackson, and Jace Howard. We have a very competitive group. Every day that I drive into work, I'm so excited to get an opportunity to go in there and coach and learn from them, and we learn from each other and grow together. So as the season progresses, when it gets ready to start soon, it's all about health. We want our health first, and we want to continue to keep striving to try to be a competitive group.
Hi, Juwan, Andrew Kahn, good to see you.
Good to see you again.
Kim was up here talking about the relationship between the two programs,
Yes.
yours and hers. I was hoping you could do the same, share some insights on that.
Well, I'm so happy for Kim and the program on the success they had last season. They had to endure and fight with a lot. And the way how they responded was a reflection on the head coach. She's a great person, a fighter, smart. She has amazing staff, and then to see the success of how it all panned out towards the end. And unfortunately, they did not want the season to end the way it did, just like us. But I'm just happy to be a part of, and sharing in the same building with someone who is opening, welcoming, fun, smart. I sit in some of her practices and watch how her team competes and watch how her staff is able to help lead those young ladies and developing them to become the best version of themselves. And I've learned a lot from her. And so I will continue to support her program, the players, because they are beautiful people, man, and they're very talented, and I'm going to be their biggest fan.
Juwan, Tom Brew from Sports Illustrated Indiana. A lot was made when you came back to Michigan from all those years in the NBA and such, and now that same thing is happening in Indiana with Mike Woodson coming back. What was the most important thing you learned in making that adjustment? And if you could, tell me your best Mike Woodson story.
Well, the first thing I learned when I first came from the NBA to the college level was getting to know, everyone in the building, to know the names of the managers, getting to know the folks that runs the building and keep the place clean and safe for us. The second adjustment is the recruiting. The recruiting was a lot different from coming from the NBA. Everyone come to you, and now you have to sell your program, you have to sell yourself, and you have to sell the vision and the culture. So the recruiting was an adjustment. The best Mike Woodson story, I would say, would be back when Coach Woodson was in Atlanta, and he was coaching the Atlanta Hawks, and I was playing for the Charlotte, at that time they were called the Charlotte Bobcats. So Coach Woodson, having an amazing, talented group, played in the NBA for so many years and had success while doing it, he's always had a very competitive team that plays hard from start to finish. And I expect that with the Indiana University on how his team is going to be played this season. Smart coach, hard worker, what he's learned from the NBA, I'm sure, it's not saying he's going to do everything that he's done, over his years coaching the NBA, but it shows that the guy knows basketball, that I know his team is going to be competing from start to finish. And he's going to be another coach, along with the other coaches in the Big Ten, that keep me up at night trying to see how we're going to scout against his group and prepare for his team.
James Boyd, Hero Review. Juwan, Isaiah Barnes actually grew up where I grew up, and he went to Romeoville High School his freshman year, Malwood High School. Never thought he'd be in Michigan. No disrespect to him, it's just he kind of blew up. So what type of things did you see in him that made you want to go get him, and what type of impact do you think he could have as a freshman?
Well, I'll first start with the person. I was impressed with getting to know him and his family, as far as what the high character individual he is, being a great student, his knowledge for the game of basketball, and then I got to know more about his pedigree, on where he come from, spending some time in, like you just touched on, the Romeoville area, as well as the Chicago area. And I have a little bit of knowledge about Chicago, basketball, and some of the guys that come out of that city, and how basketball is considered the #1 sport, and the passion and the competitiveness that being a part of the public league South, where Simeon, where he ended up transferring to. Yes, he did blow up. People did not know much about him, but I had a chance to watch him when my son, Jace Howard, was playing in the Under Armour tournament. At that time, it was 16U, and I watched Isaiah's team play when he was playing for the Illinois Wolves, and I was like, this kid is pretty special. He's got an amazing skill set. But then, after talking to him more and more and seeing, what he wanted from his college, future, I just felt Michigan was the best place for him, and that's why I went after him, and I'm just happy that he's a part of our family.
Okay, we have time for one more question in the back.
Craig Waddell, Sleepers Media. Hi, Juwan.
Good morning.
Eli Brooks, Brandon Johns, you mentioned both of them coming back. I look around the country and I see attrition at a level higher than it's really ever been, yet your program seems to retain players despite bringing in such a vaunted recruiting class, despite bringing in transfers. What is it about your program that seems to get players to want to stick around and compete?
It's Michigan. Michigan, not said in an arrogant way, but it's a special place that always keep reeling you back in. Ann Arbor is a beautiful city. The Michigan Block M, it never gets old to all of us. The energy that you go into the building, and this building I'm speaking of is the Michigan Stadium, and watch a football game with 115,000 plus there cheering on Coach Harbaugh's team, and then you have the Michigan education. That speaks volumes in a lot of ways. Top 10 and law school, top 10 in the Ross Business School. Ross actually is top 3. And you can go on and on and on. And, you talk about Michigan athletics, a guy by the name of, our athletic director, Ward Manu, has done an amazing job with his leadership and finding fine coaches in every program that find ways to really help and care for our young, student athletes in a lot of ways to help them become, powerful young men and women that they can do great things. And Eli and many others have trusted that vision, and we just hope that we can continue to get more Eli Brooks of the world a part of the University of Michigan family.
Thank you so much for your time today, Coach. Good luck this season.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Thanks for having me. You guys stay safe and go blue.
You heard some of the names coming back to Ann Arbor: Hunter Dickinson, Eli Brooks, Brandon Johns, one of the nation's top recruiting classes. That's why it's no surprise as you look at some of the major preseason publications, Blue Ribbon, Athlon, Lindy's, all ranking Michigan as the favorite heading into the 21-22 Big Ten men's basketball season.